welcome to the Gwinnett Force. I'm Julie Monty, along with my fellow Family Violence Task Force member and co-host of the show, Sergeant Tracy Lee.
Hello, Julie.
Hi, Tracy. On this episode, we'll be discussing self-defense with our special guest, TJ Alvarado with Blaze for Life. Hey.
Hey, good morning.
Also joining us today is Jennifer Hope with Atlanta Family Counseling Center.
Hey,
Hey, Jennifer. Let's take a moment and talk about our roles with the community. Sergeant Lee?
Well, Julie, I've been with the Sheriff's Department now approximately 20 years, and I'm with the Court Security Division.
Okay. Jennifer?
I'm a licensed associate professional counselor and assistant director of Atlanta Family Counseling Center, and also vice president of the Gwinnett Family Violence Task Force.
Soon to be president.
I'm a certified self-defense instructor, and I'm the executive director with Blaze for Life, and I'm also a new member on the Family Violence Task Force.
Thank you. And I am currently president of the Family Violence Task Force, and we'll soon be turning that responsibility over to Jennifer.
I'm excited.
I know. I'm glad too. Tracy, before we start the show, would you like to look back at some of the past stories we've gone over?
Well, Julie, unfortunately, the Sheriff's Department's had some more bad news. We lost another deputy recently. Deputy John Laurie, who's been with the Sheriff's Department 19 years, died of a massive heart attack.
How old was he?
He was 41 years old.
41.
Wow.
That's tragic.
And
That's young.
him and his wife Tracy had a self-defense program that they taught at the jail to ladies called JT Powerhouse. And it was a real loss. John was a martial arts expert, and he was also a member of the rapid response team that the Sheriff's Department has. And he really was a good guy. We're going to miss him terribly. And he left behind his wife and 2 young sons, and I'd like to dedicate this show to him.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Excellent.
That's a shame. What else do you have for us,
Well,
update-wise?
I'd like to talk about some stories in the news that we had here recently. You remember the Target murder in Snellville?
Yes. That young girl.
That made the news recently.
Right,
It was
there
quite
was
a story.
Somebody who dressed up.
Right. Joanna Haynes was arrested for shooting her daughter-in-law at the Target store in Snellville. She allegedly killed Heather Strobe in a front of her infant child execution style. And that was in the store parking lot. And the surveillance video showed a suspect dressed in a disguise, I guess, running through the parking lot. And I think a lot of people saw that over and over on the TV news.
And we don't know yet if her estranged husband was involved. They don't think he...
I haven't heard anything. He seemed to be pretty distraught when they showed him on the news.
No, the child wasn't hurt.
No, the child.
But the child was in the vehicle when it
Did
happened.
the mother-in-law then take the child? I
No.
can't remember if anything
No.
happened.
No. And this was about 6 months ago, but they finally did make an arrest in that case.
Oh.
So
Okay.
It was a long time
The,
coming.
other case I'd like to talk about is the bizarre case of the Lawrenceville woman charged with killing her daughter.
And that's when they found in the wall or crawl space.
That's
or
correct.
something?
Jessica Holcomb was arrested and charged with murder for allegedly killing her 18-month-old child. The police went to the house to do a welfare check, and they found the mother and the daughter in a crawl space where they'd cut a hole in the wall.
Wow.
And they found her daughter basically lifeless with no pulse, and they apparently did CPR and got her back, but she died later at the hospital. And the mother was charged with murder.
Has the mother said anything about the conditions there, or?
The neighbors said that the conditions that they lived in were horrible.
And there were other kids also in the home.
I
I
believe
What
believe-
happened to
I
them?
think they were taken through defects.
So, bizarre case, sad.
I'm sorry, were they able to pinpoint how the child was killed?
I think there's been some speculation that she was smothered.
Oh, wow. Wow.
This next story I'd like to talk about is the story of the Lawrenceville woman who allegedly stabbed her husband 30 times.
That was one
That's
angry
a lot.
woman.
Yes, Ashley Shute was arrested after her husband was found stabbed to death in their Lawrenceville home. She was spotted crawling through her front yard covered in blood by, I guess, one of the neighbors, and they called 911.
She initially claimed that they were attacked. They both were attacked.
Yeah, she told the police
so
initially
an
that it
intruder
was
came
a
in?
home invasion.
Right.
And I guess since the story has changed to an act of self-defense with domestic violence.
We're seeing a lot more in the news where women are resorting to violence.
In the news and in our, we do at Atlanta Family Counseling women FFIPs, and we're seeing a lot more violence coming in with stabbing and things like that
A lot.
too. So there's
Yeah, I
a
agree
lot
with you. There's-
more incidences of that.
I think TJ can probably fill us in on some self-defense moves rather than killing people. We can hopefully try
Yes.
try to prevent that.
There's a thought process.
Maybe there's other.
Wanted to mention the domestic violence survivor speak out we had recently.
Every
Judy,
October,
and,
PADB, and
I attended. You got to attend it,
absolutely.
and we had a good turnout this year. Actually,
It was a great turnout, and it's a very moving event where they call the survivor or the victims of domestic violent homicides in the state for the entire year. And
yeah, they had a
very
lady
moving.
playing the guitar this year and singing some songs, and everybody really enjoyed the service. Julie, I wanted to mention that it's been 2 years since Justin Gaines came up missing.
Wow.
And recently there was a story in the paper about that.
You know, I can't believe that it has been 2 years and we still haven't had any solid leads. I can't imagine what the family's going through with the holidays coming up.
It's horrible. I mean, Erica and her husband are still in a lot of pain over this.
Absolutely.
And, you
Well,
know,
it feels so unresolved. You know, I mean, there's just, you know, they have all this hope, and,
Right.
and it's really hard to
the
stay
family
motivated.
needs closure. So if anybody
Absolutely.
knows anything about this
somebody-
case,
somebody
please
does
call the
know
police.
something.
It's hard to go through that grieving process when there's no resolution or closure.
Yes. Hopefully something will happen on that case soon.
If anybody has any information about this case, please contact your local authorities.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
Well, I think we're going to talk to our guest, TJ.
All right, TJ, why don't you give us a little information about your background and how you got started?
Okay. Well, since I was a youth, I've always been involved with martial arts. But as a personal experience with my marriage, I did encounter what a lot of women often go through, and you don't know what it is at the time, but I'm very grateful to have pulled through it, and that is a relationship that was filled with domestic violence. Domestic violence doesn't just encompass physical violence, but there's other factors that are involved. Because of my personal situation and the things that I've been fortunate to experience within the county at Gwinnett County, from law enforcement to victim support services, to everything that the Family Violence Task Force supports and advocates for, I had those resources, but it wasn't easy. So that's what led me to create this nonprofit, which is Blaze for Life. And what we do is we provide violence prevention education to everybody who's in need of it, specifically self-defense classes for women and also self-defense for people with various disabilities.
Oh, wow.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you have a black belt, or what is your ratings in martial arts? I've always been impressed by that.
Okay, well, there is no belt ranking for toughness. That's a quote from one of the funny movies that's out. But instead, and what I want to emphasize, is that any woman, and for the sake of what we're talking about, domestic violence in particular, it's usually women, but any woman can successfully defeat a bigger, stronger opponent. It's not so much just the effective physical techniques, it's absolutely the mindset. So regardless if you're a black belt or not, you can
How
defend
long
yourself.
have you been doing this, TJ?
With Blaze for Life, I've been doing this now since end of 2005, 2006.
Okay.
At the time, we were known as Atlanta Tung Sudo, and because we've decided to expand the population and what we do as far as violence prevention programs, that's when we took on the reformation, and we are now Blaze for Life.
Where is the location of your school?
Okay, we're located at 5855 Jimmy Carter Boulevard, so that's right off I-85 and Jimmy Carter in Norcross. We're located in what's now called the new Gwinnett Village building. That's where the Gwinnett CID now calls their home office.
How much does this
Yeah, I know
cost?
that is.
Okay, the class is only $25.
That's it?
Yes, sir. Only $25. You will not find this class, this comprehensive class, guaranteed to change a woman's life forever anywhere else.
Now, can anyone go? Can I go?
Yes, you can attend. And if a woman cannot pay for the class herself, we do have sponsorships. We ask for people to donate, give the gift of safety for that special woman in your life, whether it's a mom,
That's a great
daughter.
holiday gift, too.
Absolutely. And it'll change your life forever. Thousands of women has gone through our class. No one has ever said, I didn't get anything out of it.
Wow, that's
Well,
great. I'd like to send my daughter through that.
We're gonna talk more about that in just a minute, but in the meantime, we're gonna take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
You could choose to join a gang. You could try the latest drugs. You could even choose to drop out of school. You can try to avoid the difficulties in life with a quick fix, or you can face them head on. She did. Make the right choices today and be ready for the challenges tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Somewhere around the world, there are men and women of the armed forces risking their lives, helping rebuild communities after natural disasters, collecting toys for needy children, tutoring kids in local schools. They were at Bunker Hill, Gettysburg, Iwo Jima, Khe They've been under the sea and to the moon. They stand watch in Korea. They keep drugs away from our shores. They patrol our skies every day, every year. These are your sons and daughters. You see them in church and at Little League games. But they are special because they work to keep us safe, secure, and free. Dedicated men and women who put their country first.
Welcome back to the show. At this time, we're going to talk to TJ Alvarado with Blaze for Life about your organization. Let us know what who would actually benefit from this program.
Okay. Well, specifically, our Ability to Defend is the name of our exclusive women's self-defense program. Our students are usually anywhere between the age range of 18 to 35, but we've had women who are, active, mature adults, and our oldest participant, I believe, was 83 years old.
Oh,
so
wow.
She was 83 at the time.
Wow.
And she was just amazed. I mean, the demeanor, once you walk in, to walking out and knowing that you have the confidence to actually
And the youngest
defend
is
yourself.
What age?
The youngest I believe we've had come through is about 14, and that's for self-defense. We do have programs that are tailored to fit school-age children, and that would be safety for children, and that's a different age range and a different group. It's
Now, do you have to
self-defense.
have some level of fitness going into it?
Right, absolutely not. That's what's wonderful about our program, because the techniques are designed to work with the way your body naturally moves. So taking that component and then just getting a good education in what is effective self-defense.
How about a disability?
Disability, we like to say, as far as limited abilities. So a lot of times, again, as I mentioned before, the success of the fight is in the mindset. So for our programs that are self-defense for people with various disabilities, we focus on what they can do and those things that they may be limited on compared to, someone like Jennifer or Julie or myself. Those things that they may not do as well, we show how they can definitely do effectively.
Oh, that's great. So just really reinforcing the things that they'll be able to do.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like you're able to help a lot of different people with a lot of different circumstances.
Yes, we're very happy about that. And what we always tell the participants is this is your class. So we really can't take full credit for it. We really thank everybody who's come because we set the pace. We don't say that we know exactly what you're experiencing. We can't tell somebody that, hey, you're not comfortable with it. If you're saying, I'm not comfortable moving a certain way, then we work with you to make sure that the moves you do use would be effective and that you would be comfortable executing it.
We were talking earlier, looking at the articles about women who are resorting to violence. You've seen over the last several months where they're killing their partner.
Right.
I know that you can show women moves on how to defend themselves without taking it to that extreme.
Like without resorting to weapons and things like that?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things about our program that I've found in doing my own personal research and sitting in on everybody else's different free self-defense seminars for an hour. The difference is that it's an education. It's 4 hours at a minimum, because depending on the class size, we'll have more instructors and give everybody ample time to successfully train till they're comfortable with each technique. But just as you mentioned, you know, when you're deciding at what point is this an actual assault, or perhaps is it just an agitated situation? So there are different ways to identify what is potentially going to happen.
So you're able to teach those in your classes then?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
That's correct.
Abduction, you're hearing more and more, you know, in the news about ladies and children being abducted. And do you teach techniques how to avoid being abducted?
Yes, we do. Avoidance is a successful defense. There's some key things.
Real quick, before we get into that, you had an opportunity to go to TJ's organization, her office, and she demonstrated some of the moves. We don't want to promote educating the perpetrator here, so what we wanted to do was show you how you can avert a situation where somebody's trying to abduct you. So Sergeant Lee went over to see TJ and in her office.
I manned up and went over there.
Well,
she showed me what she can do.
We're going to take a look at the video right now. We'll come back and talk about it. Let's take a look.
Hello, we're in Norcross, Georgia today at Blaze for Life, where I'm with TJ Alvarado, self-defense instructor, and she's going to show us some moves.
That's
TJ?
correct. Yes, sir. Thank you guys for joining and having us come out, and we're really excited to do this, so thank you for being here.
Now, TJ, we obviously have a size difference. I'm almost 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, and you're how?
Approximately 4'10" and a half, without heels.
So your techniques can teach women how to defend themselves in situations like this where the aggressor is larger.
That's absolutely correct. We do train our women to win their life, and they can defeat a bigger, stronger opponent. The palm strike method is executed with using the palm of the hand. It's the meaty part of the hand, and by bending the fingers downwards, kind of in a cupping motion, a good way to do it is even to cup it under your own chin, where your chin can rest. That's the meaty part, and that's a very firm part that when used as a weapon, good weapon on a good target, which would be bottom of the chin, bottom of the nose, or right to the bottom of the eyebrow, would be very effective for a woman to use in self-defense. You add the momentum of your whole body going forward and stepping into the strike, and now you've taken that person who's unsuspecting, off balance, moving backwards, and getting your space back, moving them away from you.
Okay, TJ, the wrist grab is something you see all the time. Can you explain that?
Yes. Okay, well, we see here how Sergeant Lee has grabbed my wrist. An easy way we teach our students to remember is thumbs up. In other words, take your thumb and go upwards, going in the same direction as the thumb of the person who's grabbed you. By doing this, it causes a rotation of your arm, where right here where he's holding me, it's firm and he's got the bone. Rotating it allows it to slip and it comes off. So hold it as tight as you can. I turn my wrist and I pull back, and it's an instant out. Okay?
Come on, let's go with me.
No!
All right, TJ, can you explain how to get out of a chokehold?
We want to get to air. We're creating a fulcrum with the lower part of our body, and we're securing that opponent so that we're actually taking their body weight and we're simply letting their body go with a natural motion. So a lot of times when you hear just go with the flow, that's exactly what we mean. You take it, you bend down, create the leverage, and use their own force, and they go out. And you get out of a chokehold.
All right, this is a really good move, TJ. I'm going to come up from behind and grab you, and look how much the size difference here. I'm a lot bigger than you are. How are you going to get out of this?
I'm going to take my chin, tuck it down into your elbow to get my air. I'm going to grab the bottom of your wrist down.
It works.
Works.
Welcome back. That was very interesting, and I must say, Sergeant Lee, you may have to hit the gym.
CJ, I'm so impressed by those moves.
Thank you. Sergeant Lee
Don't
did
let
not
the
make it
size
easy.
fool you.
You can't.
I mean, our size difference was...
I know. How tall are you?
4'10" and a half.
4'10" and a half and weighs about 90 pounds. So maybe I'm too high. I don't know.
No, I'm actually at about 115.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
Muscle.
Yeah, I was really impressed. You know, the technique she showed, you know, demonstrating how to avoid being abducted or something, I think that's really important for ladies in parking lots and everything.
Especially now, you know, we're even starting to hear reports of, you know, women getting, I don't know, taken advantage of in the parking lots, and those moves would be a really good way.
Well, the holiday season is
Yeah.
fast approaching. You've got people coming and going from malls all the time. Kids.
Exactly, that's a good point.
Yeah, right.
If someone's trying to take your purse in the parking lot, what do you recommend?
Let your purse go. Let your purse go, because it's not more valuable than your life.
You're right.
Yeah.
But boy, that would be hard
I
for me
know.
to do.
I know it. You
And the
ladies
thing
and
is,
your
you know, women,
purses.
we carry all kinds of things in our
Yeah.
purses, and just quite frankly, you know, one of the things that I do to, you know, make our program more effective is I go and I people watch and I observe. And for the holidays, he said, how can you avoid an abduction? Well, how could you avoid a potential crime like a robbery, for example? Pay attention. You know, even though it is the holidays, at all times.
Yeah.
The
We're
economy's
busy,
really
we're on our cell
bad
phones,
right now,
we're carrying
and
things.
There's been an increase in crime, so...
And always have your keys out. I hear that's a big
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I was always told to carry my keys
Okay.
between my
Yeah.
fingers.
Oh, so you can use
Right.
They
that.
found,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
And I know that it's difficult for women who have multiple smaller children,
Yeah.
but I'd love to just suggest to these women that if you have a buddy, another woman who has kids, maybe you guys could take turns, because it is, you know, you get distracted, you're watching the kids everywhere. Next thing you know, one might be missing or one hides in the clothes rack. And it's really hard to just stay focused. When a person is looking, when a predator is looking for a prey, they pick them for a specific reason. There's a weakness. It could be a weakness in attention. It could be a perceived weakness in their ability to fight for themselves. It could be a weakness as far as, you know, them having strength or leverage. So those type of things are the things that we want to be, you know, careful about. You stand and you walk tall and you look around.
Yeah,
Don't
definitely
look
be
down.
aware of your surroundings. That goes for law
Absolutely.
enforcement officers,
Absolutely.
too. They've taught us that. You know.
And parking next to like a van or something
I know,
is
my mom
dangerous.
Don't park next to them.
My kids think I'm crazy because, you know.
Walk out with somebody
Yeah.
if you can.
Yeah.
You know, wait at the
Security.
door until
Yes,
someone's
I've done
coming.
that.
Go out in a group.
My biggest thing is go with your gut. If you feel
Yeah.
like something's wrong, something could be wrong.
That's why we have
and
that
Exactly.
instinct.
Keep
Go with your
yourself
gut
on
instinct.
handy.
We've talked about that book that I've talked about it before in the past. It has to do with your gut instincts, and I can't remember the name of it right now, but we've talked about it in the past. In the meantime, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Whew, getting health information is a nightmare.
It's all in how you look at it. To you, it's a pile of books, reading until your eyes drop out. But to me, I go straight to NIHSeniorHealth.gov, click on what I want, and boom, there it is.
NIHSeniorHealth.gov, the medical website created with older adults in mind by the National Institutes of Health.
Getting health information at our age is tough.
It's all how you look at it. To you, it's a pile of books and reading till your eyes drop out. But me, I go to NIHSeniorHealth.gov, click on what I want, and bingo, there it is.
Well, thanks for the tip.
NIHSeniorHealth.gov. It's easy to use. You can make the text bigger, make the contrast better, even make it talk to you. If only everything else out there were as senior friendly. NIHSeniorHealth.gov, built with you in mind.
Thanks to your generosity, Marines have delivered Christmas to children in need since 1947.
Hey, welcome back. The name of the book was A Gift of Fear. The author is Gavin DeBecker. I'm sorry, I had a mind blank going on there for a minute, but that's an awesome book, and I recommend everybody read it. We're going to talk now about where women can get help, again, in an abuse situation.
That's correct. There's two particular organizations that just received high honors in our community this past month through the United Way Women's Legacy Luncheon. They were awarded the High Impact Awards for their services of providing shelter for domestic violence, as well as those who are overcoming a lifestyle of drug and alcohol abuse, which oftentimes those women and their children are also impacted by domestic violence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see that a lot as far as medicating. Absolutely.
Yes. Those two organizations are called Mary Hall Freedom House, and they have a shelter location that's in Gwinnett County now.
And that's new. We're going to have to do a little bit more research
Yeah.
on that because that's very
That's correct.
important.
And then the other one is called CPACS, which stands for Center for Pan-Asian Community Services. They are specifically serving women, immigrant women especially, of the Pan-Asian community background, because these women, as we know from different cultures, eat different foods and have different ways that they live life. So it's difficult for them to even adjust, much less have to deal with the situation of violence. So what CPACS has done, they've created a shelter which is called Hannah's House. Of course, these locations are undisclosed, but you can always call in Google or call United Way's 211 and get their information. But they're also in Gwinnett County, and they're doing an awesome job for those women.
And we'll work on getting the information for those organizations and have them posted on our website.
Mary Hall Freedom House flyer we can show
Okay.
to our viewers so they can get the phone numbers for that.
Also, at Atlanta Family Counseling Center, we also see the victims, and we do offer a reduced rate. So we can offer individuals counseling support sessions. We can do families. And we work a lot with the children as well as the women who have been battered. So.
And tell us again, how long have you been there?
I've been there for 2 years. But Atlanta Family Counseling Center has been serving Gwinnett County for 17 years.
Have they? Okay,
So.
that's pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, and we're all licensed therapists, so we're ready. We're ready to help.
Good. Thank you.
Something come up recently. I had a lady call me, and she said she was all upset. She said, "I've got to go to court tomorrow and face my abuser." And she was really concerned about doing that. And I know that's tough.
That's very intimidating, especially if you've never been in that situation before, and there's really not a lot of help out there.
And a lot of times, they're making the women feel really guilty about even going, and really minimizing.
Well, she doesn't have any funds, which we hear a lot.
Well, there's no cost in filing a protective order or going to court.
Well, I'm not saying her abuser hired a lawyer, and she doesn't have the money to hire one.
I understand that, but the facts are the facts. If there's been physical abuse, if she has pictures, she's got evidence, then his lawyer can't make that go away.
Yeah.
Right. Well, she's got the prosecutors in her corner, but
so she's going to need to gather some information before she goes to court.
Well, and that's one thing I wanted to mention, that victims of domestic violence, if they have a situation where they're going to have someone arrested, they can collect evidence that's admissible in court.
One big thing, pictures. If they don't know anybody that has a camera, if they don't have a camera, go to the family violence unit in the sheriff's department. They'll take pictures.
They will take pictures. If you're bruised, you're injured.
And there's females there also in the department, so you can go into the restroom and strip down if you have to. And don't be ashamed to do that, but you are going to need that evidence.
Emails are admissible. If you get email threats, text messages,
just make sure, print out the emails, make sure the date's on them. Text messages are kind of hard. I mean, you might not have a big memory in your phone, so videotape them or take a picture of them.
We've actually had investigators with the family violence unit photograph
the actual message from the phone. Oh, wow.
And,
and that's admissible. You can do that.
Absolutely.
So when it comes time to face your abuser in court, you can have the ammunition you need to make a good case against that person and prevail. But wanted to mention that because she was very upset about that.
Absolutely.
There is a lot of help out there, and I understand when you first walk in to file a protective order, you may not receive the help. I mean, the funds aren't really there to hire somebody to be there 24 hours a day. But the Family Violence Unit with the Sheriff's Department are extremely helpful. They are there during business hours.
The best in the state.
They're amazing. They really are. I've worked with them for years.
Largest, most productive family violence unit in the state.
The unfortunate thing about this population, just like we all know, even though it's 1 in 4 women are actually battered and experience domestic violence, there's also many more cases that are underreported. And, you know, like I had the privilege, I said, of experiencing what I had to go through within Gwinnett County. Back then and even now, what I observe is that moral support. So I'd like our viewers to understand that there are different resources you can go to. It may sound just intimidating to call the Sheriff's Department. That is the most definite step in that line of to get things done for you. But whether it's through Jennifer's organization, you know, through the counseling center,
through the crisis line,
right, crisis line,
Bottom
you can
line
even
is,
call us.
don't be afraid to reach out for help.
That's right.
Real quick, we're coming up on, I believe it's been 5 years since Jennifer Corbin was killed by her husband, Bart Corbin, who was a dentist in Gwinnett County. The movie, Too Late to Say Goodbye, was on a couple weeks ago on Lifetime Network, I think September 7th. The book was written by Ann Rule, and she's an amazing author. I've read so many of her books. But I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that. It's an interesting story. I would get the book and read it if it's something you're interested in. Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe played Dr. Corbin. So I think the book was better.
And he's currently incarcerated, not Rob Lowe.
Let's hope not. Bart Corbin is.
He
pled guilty to both to his wife's murder and his former girlfriend's.
Well, I didn't see that movie. I'd like to see
Very
that.
interesting.
Definitely.
Any final thoughts?
Well, what's our website so we can let the viewers know one more time?
www.gwinnettfamilyviolence.org. And as we get ready to close the show, we want to take a look at it.
One quick thing I wanted to... You've got a brother serving in the military, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do.
Tell us about your brother.
Okay, my brother is a Gunnery Sergeant, Don B. Alvarado, and he's been serving with the Marine Corps now for close to 20 years. He's going to retire out of the Marine Corps in 2013. The biggest thing about my brother, I mean, he's absolutely one of my heroes, and I love him so much. He's been stationed in Okinawa, Japan, and just this month, November, he got deployed to Afghanistan. So just want to acknowledge him as well as all of our men and women in our armed forces. Freedom is not free. He's got a baby that's on the way, another one, and it's due to be born a month before he's due to return. But just want to say I love you, man, and thank you for everything you do, and we'll be waiting for you when you come home.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with all his medals. He looks like had a very good career there.
Absolutely.
One thing, Julie, also, this is the start of our 3rd season with the Gwinnett Force. You can believe that.
3 seasons.
3 seasons.
I know.
And hopefully we've helped a lot of people out there that have watched the show.
I've gotten some pretty interesting feedback.
I have too, I have to admit.
Quite a few more people watched this tonight that I thought would.
Well, I'd like to thank the behind-the-scenes guys, Joe Sorensen, Trent Bumgardner, Dorian Crawford, Derek Skinner, James Korn, who came out of retirement for this show. Thank you all for making this a great program. We really appreciate what you do. And
you've got a couple people in your department that has helped out over the course.
Nakia Brooks, Deputy Nakia Brooks, he's helped us a lot.
Nick Dima did some filming for us off-site.
But anyway, 3 years and still going. And
nice. Hopefully we'll keep going as long as they let us. Because I know the need's there. I mean, we need to get the information out and help people. We're going to wrap up the show and look at a couple of photos in remembrance of Deputy John Laurie. So take a look.